alignment.
Alignment. It's kind of weird that it's not straight. You know what I mean? That one's good.
Come on, Ryan.
What's that?
Mine.
Yeah, that's a
Standing
good one.
alone.
That's a good one.
So they've played, two different quarterbacks. Some going to more to Max Duggan lately. What kind of player is he?
He's a young guy who understands their package. He's done a really good job with it since they came in. So he's done a good job, and I don't know. He was playing even early in the season. They've been playing two guys the whole time, and it's like one is a little bit more running. Whoever the backup is at the time seems to carry the ball a little bit more, and I think he's done a good job since he's been in there.
I know we've heard a lot about tackling since the last game, but how tough is it to work on tackling now that there's more restrictions on how much you can do that in practice each week, full padded practice?
I think you can work on tackling without tackling all the time. You can work on the different areas of it. Okay, hey, our leverage is bad. Why is our leverage bad? Well, I took my drop, my eyes don't get on course, and I have bad leverage there. How can I scrape and get tight off a block, or how can I do this, or even breaking down the fundamentals where it's just me and you. Okay, I'm gonna go in your eyes and thighs and wrapping and squeeze, those kind of things, and you can do some of that stuff. So we've worked on those fundamentals, but also, yes, very much so, we've tackled quite a bit, when we've had a chance to.
How much have you guys game planned for Alex Dalton?
We have it in, it's a deal where, since he's played quite a bit, you gotta kind of take that into account, and especially the last couple weeks, they've had little packages for him where he's gonna play at some point. How much, who knows? That's their question, we just kind of play who comes in, and we have, you have your package for a running quarterback and a non-running quarterback, and how much we're going to see him. We'll see.
You feel like his time here kind of benefits with your guys knowing his skill sets and things like that?
I think it could go both ways. You could argue to say that he knows our personnel very well too. So if I'm reading a defensive end and I think I can outrun that guy because I've seen him in practice 75 times do the same thing, it might benefit him at the same time. So it goes both ways. He knows us, and our guys know him, so I think it helps both sides.
For scout team purposes, who is it that serves as that running team scout guy?
Well, right now we're using Ryan Hennington. He's a guy that can run around a little bit, and he's got a little bit of juice to him, so he's been doing a good job for us.
They've been a little up and down, maybe more up lately offensively, but what have teams done to have success against them? And then when TCU's playing well offensively, what are they doing well?
I think it's really on the quarterback stuff. People who actually get after that guy a little bit, whoever it is, it doesn't matter. They're not comfortable standing in there if they have to stand in there a little bit, and it's more. Listen, their receivers are good, man. They got some speed. They got speed all over the field, and their backs are good. So it's not. Their personnel isn't bad around. It's the trigger man that says, hey, listen, if you can disrupt that guy, maybe his timing's a little bit off, or he misses a ball. There's a guy open, and it ends up just being a long foul ball, and you're like, oh, we lived through that one, and there's a lot of that going on. So I'm sure that they're working on their timing and doing all those kind of things. But it's also, listen, he's always the guy that you got to get after. I don't care if he's a dude that's played 800 games and he's going to go to the NFL and be a first-round draft pick, or if it's going to be a guy who's just starting up in the thing. You generally can disrupt a guy who's a little bit younger and hasn't had that experience. So hopefully we can get that done.
You guys face Trevor Hubbard, obviously. Right below him is Darius Anderson. What is it about Anderson that gives defensive trouble?
He's a hard runner, man. He's a guy that has really good vision. He can see a cut and make he can enter a gap and then kind of, okay, I see something, I can slide and bounce to it and hit it like that. And then, if you tackle him high, if you get too high on him, he gives you issues because he's strong. I know he doesn't look huge in stature, but he's a strong guy that runs, and if you get high, he's going to drag you for a few. If you don't wrap him up, if you try to blast him, he's got good enough balance where he's just going to keep going. So we've seen that enough on tape, and we show as many of those clips as we can because we've had those issues ourselves.
What did you guys need to do better against Baylor?
Yeah, I think it goes down to just big plays again. I mean, you look at everything, just the amount of explosives we're giving up right now. Those are things that we look at as a staff and say, okay, hey, what are the things that are really hurting us? Well, explosives. Okay, now why are those happening? Well, there's some things where we're still learning defense. Hey, like we talked about the first thing, leverage. How do you work tackling without? Well, we're too wide in the gap, and someone else is filling another gap, and already got close, so we're going to go make another play, and then we knock a guy off, and there you go, the ball spits for 35. You get tackling issues, you know what I mean? A guy goes and, hey, he's next to the sideline, so yes, I can knock him out of bounds, but I don't wrap and squeeze, and the guy spins off and goes for enough. Those big plays are what hurting us, and it's not so much the big play.